Yeah. All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's 3:05, and we're going to call on ATAC meetings to order. Javier, roll call, please.
Yes, please remember that if you are an alternate, to please turn your camera mic on and say who you are representing. Veronica Escalera Ibarra.
Here.
Lyle Hustetler.
Alternate Doris Martinez for Lyle.
Cristina Solorzano.
Present.
Jeff Jordan.
Here.
Victor Sainz.
Here. Here.
Elizabeth DuPont.
Carly Farmer here for Elizabeth.
Margarita Hernandez.
Ricky Kobayashi on Margarita's behalf.
Jacob Howard. Ice Levy.
So this is Rebecca Rodriguez with Transportation Department, City of San Antonio. Both Isaac and I are having camera issues. We cannot connect. So we're both trying to figure out how we can turn this camera on.
Yep. Eric Tapp. Lawrence Jackson.
Here.
Phil Hill. Scott Wayman.
Yep.
Lori Day.
Repeat.
Kirk McCall.
Yeah.
Joey Pollock.
Here.
Robert Hanley.
Here.
Jordan Burston. Yvonne De La Rosa. Marisela Diaz Wells.
Here.
Thank you, got it out here.
Chair, we have quorum.
Great. Thank you, Javier. Agenda item number 2, citizens to be heard. Do we have anybody? Okay. All right. Agenda item number 3, approval of the February 12th, 2025 ATAC meeting minutes. Any discussion or recommendations for changes? If not, let's see a motion for approval.
This is Robert Hanley, and move approval unless there's any modifications or changes or corrections.
Scott Wayman, second.
Okay, since going off some of our usual procedures, if there's anybody, since we have our online audience, if there's anybody opposed, please go ahead and state. Otherwise, we'll set the meeting minutes. All right. For the February 12th meeting minutes. Agenda item number 4, discussion and appropriate action on AMPO's Policy 2 public participation plan. Mia, correct.
Stand up here.
Yeah. You can sit down.
So I can see you.
I'll stand.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and hello, everyone online. My name is Mia Garza White. I am Communications and Engagement Manager at the Alamo Area MPO. Y'all heard from me at the last ATAC meeting about our public participation plan and current public engagement efforts. So we are coming back to get some approval for recommendation to the policy. So just to summarize some of what you all heard in the last ATAC meeting, our public participation plan is a proposed guide to engage the public in the transportation planning process. It is required that we develop and use a document for a participation plan. We had a 45-day public comment period from January 27th to March 15th. It is also required that the document is developed comprehensively and collaboratively. We need to update it every 3 years, at least every 3 years, so that's coming around again for us. Some of the improvements include revised sections, better flow, increased transparency and clarity. This is the updated table of contents. It is just about us, introduction to purpose, how to get involved, public participation goals, audiences, diversity and inclusiveness, which had some changes, which we'll go over later, board and committees, public participation procedures, strategies, monitoring and evaluation, and then our methods. So this is to sum up some of the revisions that we talked about in the last meeting. The goals were revised, the audiences were revised, and we organized it slightly differently so that it's hopefully easier to digest. The board and committees, same thing. We revised it and organized it in a way that is slightly different than before. The plans and programs has also been revised and organized, and we included a little more details to hopefully better understand that section. And the same thing with the strategies as well. This is a section that's included in our PPP that we think is very important. It answers the question, how can I get involved right now? So here are 5 ways. Following us on social media, signing up for our e-newsletter are some of them, and these should be hyperlinked in our actual public participation plan so that if someone's reading it, they can take these actions immediately. This is what is included in our appendix. As of now, we're still going through the final processes of getting seeking guidance from the FHWA on some of these executive orders. This is what it has now. This is a little bit about the process and timeline for this. So we are now in March, and we are presenting this to you a second time. And then around April, we should have the final approved document available online in Spanish and English. This is a little bit about what we did to seek public engagement for the PPP. We had a website online that had a survey, and then we also distributed that through our newsletter, social media. We had a flyer that we took to events. We did some advertising. And then, yeah, attending the events and meetings with the link to this webpage. So we've had, I think we ended with 22 responses, and we ended at around 86% of respondents. So the document was either clear or neutral. So in general, we got good feedback. These are 2 of our open-ended questions on the survey, asking if there are any areas or topics that were particularly important or well done or needed more attention or improvement. We got positive feedback on in-person outreach, positive feedback on readability. We had some comments on DEI on both sides of the spectrum, and several had no opinion, which I think is a good thing. And then we also asked if there's any areas or topics that are missing. In general, there was a lot of satisfaction. Most people said that all was good. Some support or skepticism of DEI. And in general, we got a lot of good feedback. And this is just kind of a sample of what we see. Additionally, as I mentioned, the FHWA has some required revisions that we aligned our diversity and inclusion section to the new administration's initiatives. So we are working with them to ensure that that is the case. We also added this International Association for Public Participation Spectrum. This kind of shows how we interact, or how the public can interact with us in different levels, and how they can become involved in the transportation planning process. And this is now at the first page of the appendix. And then just a little bit reminder about our current public engagement effort. Our Your Move page on our website, we're seeking public input on the TIP and the MCP. So we have a survey out and a mapping exercise that you can use to share your input. And that will be open until summer of this year. And our public information, public meeting information is coming very soon. That should be in June. And we will be sharing that information with you all to attend and to share with anyone you think is appropriate to attend those. And here's the QR code for the Your Move site. Here's the URL. Please share with anyone you think is appropriate. We very much appreciated all of this input. It's very helpful for us to develop the FTP and the TIC. Okay, now we have a motion to recommend the adoption of the Antos Policy 2 Public Participation Plan. Any questions, comments?
Question, so this already went to TAC and was adopted, or it was, I guess, recommended for approval by TAC, correct? So if ATAC were to recommend any changes, what would that process look like? Or how else, I know this is like usually ATAC recommends to TAC, but.
We would, and actually, that is a future agenda item for a future ATAC meeting. Like you kind of just said, ATAC currently happens after the TAC meeting throughout the month. So we're talking to the chair of TAC here to see what we can do to make that process more linear. In this case right now, that process would bring that revision straight to the Transportation Policy Board, stating that ATAC recommended approval of the document with that specific revision. So it would still move along in that two-step process with the current time.
Okay, so I guess the other question would be, I know ATAC used to post videos online to YouTube. And I helped start when I was at Info to, again, make it a lot easier to access meetings, but I don't know if anybody in here has ever tried to access a old meeting, ATAC meeting?
I've seen the ones on YouTube that you're talking about.
Or have you ever, so there's that.
Yeah.
But have y'all ever tried to listen to an old meeting on the Info websites?
No.
So that's, I think, as far as public participation plan, I think it's, should we look at in terms of like, I know Info does a great job and, kind of pushing the boundaries on what needs to be done by the NPO for, accessibility and all these different areas, but I think that's one area that should be improved and included in like policy and language as far as like meeting accessibility after the fact. I know it's included for the TPB and the PPP, and so that's, great to see, but also for TAC and ATAC, there should be some language, if I can make amendments. So this motion I can, but there should be some language at least instructing the NPOs to say like they will post, like a video after the facts or whatever that may look like. So I know like imagine I'll probably record the videos from TAC as well.
So it depends.
Or you have the capabilities too.
We have the capabilities to, it depends on the software we use. Right now, when we have our board meetings, our transportation policy board meetings, we use VIA software, which does not have the ability to record after the fact. It only record that meeting audio. So that's the concern I would have with that is, there are TAC and ATAC meetings. We use our in-house Microsoft Teams, which automatically records it. We have access to that video.
TPB, Swaggy.
TPB uses Swagit, which is with VIA Metropolitan Transit, and I do not believe we have that video recording.
Well, it's posted usually like, you can access a video.
Yeah.
Or you should be able to.
They weren't okay.
What?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to point of order. Typically, what you do is you would have the motion in a second, and then there'd be some kind of debate. Could I offer a motion to recommend this adoption today? I'm into the policy participation plan, and then we have a second, and then engage in debate. Sure.
Yes.
So I made.
I have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
This is Robert Hanley, I'll second Scott's motion on the public participation plan.
And if there are amendments, I'd be happy to suggest
Okay.
amendment to my motion. So.
Enough that we can make some administrative changes to the plan. Or it's approved. It's just the big. that
Yeah.
we need to get. So, that could be something we could potentially do after, we need to double check. But I think that really makes sense too.
So, yeah, I guess with that point too, I think, obviously the policy board is, the highest, entity of the NPO. But, I think there should be at least like, there is information online, at minimum the meeting audio, but it's some recognition that, AMPO is providing this information online, preferably in a video format. But, yeah,
Do you have a recommended like period of time that it would be on for?
or as for like when it will be posted, or,
Like from what I'm understanding, you're saying that we should have the meeting video available after the meeting, right? So like how long would it be to live online for?
well, like essentially, this is getting to the weeds, I guess, but, essentially, like, my understanding, upload it to YouTube or whatever hosting service it may be, and then you could essentially just add that link to the meeting minutes webpage.
Okay.
If you go back to like meeting minutes, your meeting minutes web pages from like even 2023, that information, the PDFs from the agenda items are still there, as are the like meeting audio
I'm
files.
sure there's probably even, I'm sure the MPO has records retention and records display rules that this would probably have to abide by anyway. So whatever rules that the MPO has in place, I would think that these meeting minutes or videos, whatever they're displayed, I'm certain that they would have to abide by those rules.
We do post the meeting audio for every meeting, with that, and I try to keep up with the ATAC meetings to post those.
Follow up with what Scott says. Is there not a requirement, because I understand what the MPO is and what the requirement is for communities to have MPOs. Is there no language in their bylaws or construction that says how
Records retention.
records retention or archival or anything like that? Is there any of that language in
I
the?
believe for OMA, we have to, and I think that is the meeting audio, as well as meeting minutes with people on those, so.
Okay, just curious.
So that, I guess I'd like to also make an amendment to include that info and the PPP include language files, providing the meeting video files for TAC and ATAC after the meeting, and whatever time frame is appropriate.
Would these amendments that we're talking about, would they fly afoul to y'all being able to approve them, since we meet after TAC and get these changes back to TAC, would it fly afoul? So then I would allow to have those amendments added to my motion. And those amendments are, again, the records to archive the meetings. What was the other amendment?
And I guess it's essentially looking at the PPP and essentially just adding to the language, since I guess specifically on, oh my gosh, I lost it. It's on the meeting accessibility page. Sorry, lost the page.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I had it up.
See, that's what was the ATAC is supposed to make before TAC, because we make.
I had it up.
Change eventually. but-
We're gonna be done.
You'll be getting it.
Okay, so it should be page 27 of the PDF document of the PPP. Essentially talking about like the roles of TPP, TAC, and ATAC, and in that section, there's a line. I guess this caught my attention because there's a line in the TPB section that states TPB live stream archive are posted online within 24 hours after the meeting. So that got my attention and thinking that, there should be something for TAC and ATAC stating at least it could be a different time frame, but stating that, ATAC live stream archives are posted, video live stream archives are posted online within, maybe a week or something, whatever time frame it is for like y'all posting those minute files.
I'd make that as a friendly amendment. I would include language of accessibility and retention as articulated in the general bylaws that the MPO sets forward is appropriate.
And so I guess just for Robert Rules of Order,
Yes.
you could take just to verify, yeah.
And then the second has to be agree with that, and I agree with that.
Okay, so first, do we need to clarify the language?
MPO will post a video recording of ATAC tag.
Okay, so
In a timely manner.
first, we're taking a vote on the amendment, and that amendment is that the MPO will post, again, including language, PPP, stating that the MPO will post a video recording of ATAC, TAC, and TPB in a timely manner. And, I'll get a video pulled the meeting, the video. Or should we just do the
You
name?
think it should read something more along the lines of, in a manner established by the Allen area NPO, so that the rules that we set are the same rules that the NPO has in place? I'm certain that there are rules with regards to accessibility and retention of the meetings of the NPO, right? TAP meetings,
Yes, we could maybe, in a manner, sonic manner established by the employer.
accessibility and retention as in the same manner established by the Allen area NPO and their language of the bylaws.
Currently, we have TPB in 24 hours. That's why it takes that over for us.
Yeah.
And so we could potentially, we have those video files as teams, so we could do TAC and TAC.
Yeah.
Whatever's
So
easy for Joey.
For,
We could match that TPB language and just make it within 24 hours.
okay, I know for y'all's sake too, it's like, sorry, it's getting to the weeds, like, it could be like a day or two, especially for one of the meeting videos, so,
Within 24 hours of receiving the recording.
Maybe without unreasonable delay.
yeah. Okay, real quick, just getting to the weeds here, how long do y'all usually, or like, I know sometimes for Clay, like, yeah, it's updating the website, what is that process, like a week, for like posting the former, like, past meeting,
For small website updates like that, it's generally 48 hours.
okay. Okay. Maybe, just say even like 3 or 4 business days, just like, I know, especially in this case, that you're not automatically plugging from Swag, it's, maybe something like that, 3 or 4 business days.
We could also keep timely manner to like
Yeah.
keep it more vague language so that we
Being as reasonable.
yeah. But in my head, I'll put 3 or 4 businesses.
Okay, so maybe some compliance of that, okay. Rereading and Scott, you're recommending like including accessibility and,
Retention language similar to what the Allen area NPO.
Okay. So the amendments will be this be included, this language be included in the PPP, that the MPO will post a video recording of ATAC, TAC, and TPB to the website in a timely manner, in accordance with accessibility and retention policies.
Policies established by the NPO.
Okay. And what's the best in this case? Maybe should we go with the nay votes or should we do,
Yes.
okay. Okay, to make this easy, do we have any, going with our usual ATAC voting procedures, do we have any opposition to this? If so, please respond by saying nay. Okay, we'll take that as all in favor of this amendment. Okay, the amendment was accepted, and now we have a motion and a second on the floor. Now we're voting on moving the PPP forward with the amendments. If there's any opposed, please respond by saying nay. If not, we'll take that as an approval by ATAC and moving the PPP forward with 1 amendments. All right. Kudos, thank you all.
present what you need for.
Thank you.
So,
We got that.
It's vehicle, aren't you?
hey, I've run through the minutes many a times as a AMPO staffer and as now co-chair, and I think that needs to be more accessible, so.
MPO will post a video recording of the ATAC tag and TPV to the website in a timely manner that complies with AMPO's accessibility and retention policy. That would be our recommendation to the transportation policy board. I did want to make a comment. We had some comments last meeting about the DEI sections for the PPP. I do want to say that we are a federally funded agency, and so we do have to make sure that we comply with all of those policies, especially those that require you to do so in order to receive those federal funds. So I'm glad that you took the time to go through those and make sure our policy was good after we received recommendation from FHWA to make those changes.
So Matt, I saw those on there. What was the units that was mentioned on the slides? What exactly is the gist of that?
So this specific direction that we've gotten from FHWA thus far was just simply to align the diversity and inclusion section with the current administration. And I believe the environmental justice order was revoked, so we removed, thus far, it is, it's not been approved yet, but thus far we've revoked mention of environmental justice, but we are still including Title VI, which still covered some aspects of what was in our former diversity and inclusion section, but some of the language has been changed.
Thank you guys for doing that.
Yeah,
Difficult to
Yes.
to walk back and forth on.
I guess good and bad, especially since you are working on the PPP anyway.
Yeah, I guess the timing worked out in a way.
All right, thank you for that, for getting us through on working on this huge efforts. Moving on to agenda item number 5, presentation on the upcoming active transportation advisory committee applications for multimodal representatives. Matthew.
So we talked about and recently got approved with the transportation or technical advisory committee that will be going to the transportation policy board at their next meeting in March. But the multimodal representatives will soon be officially finally approved, which means that the applications will be going out. We will be posting them on social media, on our website, and we will be going through them as a committee at the April ATAC meeting. So all this presentation is giving you an insight to what questions we're asking, so that when we come back in April with those applications, you know what we asked them and what to look for. So should be pretty straightforward. Again, I'm Matthew Breno, the Regional Transportation Planner here at the Alamo Area MPO. Click on the slides. There we go. So the purpose is just to review the application forms for the upcoming multimodal representative selection. They will be posted first thing tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, we should be sending out an all staff email or an all ATAC email, as well as posting on social media soon for those two multimodal representative positions.
How many?
Two.
There's 2 positions?
There's 2 positions. One of them is brand new, and the other one is redefining the micromobility provider as multimodal, broadening that definition since micromobility provider was a little bit narrow. ATAC recently defined its membership to add 2 multimodal representatives, which will serve through the remainder of the non-governmental organization terms scheduled to end in late 2026. If you remember, at the end of 2024, we had some non-governmental organization turnover, as we regularly have scheduled every other year. So this will fill out the remainder of this current term till the end of 2026. Again, we are also having our info study area boundary expansion. There is an announcement at the end of this meeting on an update on this whole process, but very generally, our new boundary will include the entirety of Kendall County, a portion of Medina County, east of Hondo. And the Transportation Policy Board recommended removing the ATD position from the policy board, adding a Kendall County, Medina County position, converting the Kendall County geographic to the city of Bertie, as well as adding another representative for the city of San Antonio and Bear County. So what we did was added a multimodal representative. You can see here where we took away or redefined that micromobility provider as a multimodal organization, and then added one to round up those two positions, in addition to redefining those county positions in the last ATAC meeting as well. So the application, very simple. I'm sure the applications we do receive, many of y'all will be familiar with. It's the full name of the applicant, which will be the representative, their email address and phone number, Texas Open Meeting Act requirements. Again, since we are a advisory committee, we do have to abide by those. What agency they represent or organization, who their alternate will be. So we will be asking, again, the organization, who they are, as well as who they plan for their alternate to be, why they believe they should be the multimodal representative on ATAC. So this is really the main question that we're going to be looking at when those applications come in and we review them next month. And the main big question that we have is ATAC generally meets monthly. Do you agree to participate in at least 90% of all ATAC meetings? And this is purely based off of what our current schedule looks like moving forward. Again, we may look at shifting our meeting dates depending on what ATAC wants to do, so that we have a better linear process for those. Pretty simple application. So today, we just reviewed the multimodal application process. Those will be open until a week before the next ATAC meeting. So the first Wednesday of April, this application will close. We will open them as soon as the Transportation Policy Board takes action. I did make a mistake in talking earlier. I said they would be posted tomorrow. They will be posted Monday after that TPB action. So just a clarification, it will be posted Monday. Applications for multimodal representatives close on the 1st. We review them on April 9th. During the meeting, make recommendations, and the AMPO boundary expansion representatives are seated, assuming the governor approves those by then. And then May 2025, we are planning on having our ATAC meeting in May be a walk-in bike night. And that will serve as kind of an orientation for the new multimodal representatives to join us during that meeting. Any questions or discussion? It's just a review of the application. All right. Yeah.
Quick question. So the question says what agency do you represent? He also, in that same note, he said what agency or organization. Are y'all considering changing that to also include maybe saying what agency or organization he represents? But it is like, especially if that almost seems like if you're saying that, you're only reaching out to people who work at government entities.
Correct. We can change that to organization.
Or you can just say, yeah, what.
Generally, when we post the application on our website, we have a list of different types of nonprofits, and anyone that can apply to ATAC.
Exactly.
So I can make that clarification that's an agency or an organization. But we generally post that on the website as well as.
Joey, you're trying to understand your question because it would be an agency position to me. So I'm trying to understand what you're intending.
Well, I think wasn't the intent is also like they could be agency or like they're
They could be nonprofits as well. So
Maybe agency or organization.
and that was the clarification I would be putting on.
Okay.
So I did ask that too during TAC. So I think, yeah, just wait. How was it constructed? Make sure that it was like, I feel like that was part of the intent. Like when it was the micromobility provider, it was like kind of targeted towards companies in that case. So
okay.
Clarifying language.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
I was just curious who you were planning to communicate this to. So do you have a communication plan? I didn't, and maybe I
For
missed it, but
the,
who are
for the
you?
multi-level application,
It's me as Joe.
Yeah, like, are you sending it to a group of folks that you know may apply? Like, how would they know it's up and available?
we will be posting it on social media. It will be on our website. We will also be sending it to all ATAC members. So y'all will be getting an email once this application is live. So if there's anyone, any organization or agency that you know is interested, you can forward it to them, as well as organizations in the past that have asked to send it, for us to send it to them when it does open. We do keep track of those that have made that request, and we forward it to them if they've asked us in the past to send it to them.
It will also be on our e-newsletter.
And it will be on Anto Adam News as well. So.
To answer Rafaela's question is that if there's somebody that's not the, but the NPO by and large, with all of its history, has got a database of organizations that are applicable to that you can send. And then if there's somebody that's not on there, that one of our committee members, ATAC committee members, then they can also request it to be given to them. But I think that's a pretty good pool already of agencies and nonprofits that you have resources to, that you can identify.
Yeah, the application is also public on our website, so it's not a closed application pool. Anyone can access the application on the website when it opens up. And when we send that email to all the ATAC members, we'll have the link to that as well. So.
Yeah, you're saying that's ATAC. I know you've been added to your newsletter. Could you just send that, like, have it, like, whatever email service you all use, like, constant contact, or maybe could you just put that in a, like, announcement and send that to ATAC members and your general listserv? Just, I mean, I get if you're sending it to, you know, ATAC members plus, like, your general listserv, like, in a beautiful content, like, attractive, like, hey, apply for ATAC.
Yeah, we could do an e-blast as well. That would just go out to all of our contacts, that like our new e-newsletter typically goes out to.
Okay, so that might be helpful too, because like sometimes like a lot of us get newsletters and like, you know, like, oh, we'll get to that later, but it's like, oh, there's that in that subject line saying, hey, ATAC applications are open.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Good ideas, Joy. You've already punted it to me and now, except
I know, I'm on her, yeah, this guy's like giving all these ideas, all these jobs to do.
No, that's a great idea. We will do that.
We can get AI to help also, you know.
I also agree with the organization comment, because when you hear the word agency, that automatically makes you think of government.
Yeah. I
You
can
don't want people to feel like they're precluded, from applying.
All right. Any other comments?
NGOs, non-governmental organizations.
Awesome. So yeah, look out for applications as of next Monday.
24.
Yeah, so awesome. Thank y'all for working on this, and it's been, again, a whole endeavor of setting this up, so thank y'all, Campo team. Agenda item number 6, announcements and future agenda items. I see I have some announcements here from Campo first.
Yes. Could you, Javier, pull up our website? Did already have a browser. Maybe just switch the screen share real quick.
Is there an announcement for the executive?
There is not, but there is an announcement for the call projects. Okay. Can y'all see the web page, our Alamo area NPO homepage right now? Those of you online?
Yes.
All right, so the first announcement from us, TechStot has reviewed our expanded AMPO study area and has TechStot's review of the expanded study area has been completed, and it's currently awaiting approval from the governor's office. Again, we don't have a timeline of when that will happen. We're hoping it's very soon, but he is the last one before that is finally approved. The Transportation Policy Board is expected to take action on the ATAC membership changes at our March meeting on the 24th. The Monday or the month following the formal approval, new members will be notified and seated at the ATAC meeting. So that April meeting is when the new county and city positions apply to ATAC. So that is also when the ATD positions will be phased out from ATAC as well. So just keep an eye on that. Again, that is at the Transportation Policy Board meeting on Monday for final approval. The next announcement is the fiscal year 27 through 30 call for projects preliminary submittals deadline was on March 1st. During the preliminary submittal process, AMPO received 52 projects. Information about the projects received, as well as the submission portal for final submittals, will be available at the alamoareanpo.org/call for projects. I do want to show you a little bit more information about the preliminary submissions that we have received so far. So this is our main homepage. And on the right, you can see fiscal year 27 through 30 call for projects. If you scroll down and click learn more on this little title card, it will bring you to our call for projects webpage. We have a bunch of different areas based on the timeline. It automatically takes you to something called the eligibility notice. That's where we are in the process right now. If you click here where it says click, this is just a general summary of projects we've received, some demographic information about where those projects are located. Again, we've received 52 projects in this preliminary submittal period. 26 of them are from TxDOT, 5 of them from the city of New Braunfels, 4 from Bear County, 3 from the city of San Antonio Sustainability Department, 3 from the Great Springs Project, 3 from the city of Bernie, 3 from the city of Seguin, 2 from Port SA, 1 from the city of Windcrest, as well as 1 from the city of Chatham Park and Via. 32 of those are within Bear County, 12 in Comal, 11 in Guadalupe, 7 in Kendall, and 2 in Medina County. 43 of them applied for STBG funding, 17 for CRP, 17 for CMAC, and 10 for TA projects. The total cost to fund all projects by category is $963 million in STBG projects, $247 million in CRP projects, $126 million in CMAC projects, and $45 million in TA projects. The cost to fund all submitted projects across all funding programs came out to just over $1 billion. We do not have $1 billion to give out. We have somewhere closer to $200 million. And so this call for projects will be very competitive. So that's just to give everyone a general idea, especially those of y'all who have projects currently within the call for projects. It's looking like we have a very competitive pool. We are expecting the project scoring workshops to happen sometime in June. So if you're interested in participating in that, again, June is when we will be doing this. Javier, could you go back to the web page for the call for projects and put that preliminary submittal dashboard? If you want more information about each individual project that we have received on that March 1st date, you can look at them here. The lines are very messy on the map. That's what they submitted. We will be cleaning those up for the final submittal when those are due at the end of April.
From a historical standpoint, when has the MPO ever been able to fund 100% of the projects?
The last project call.
If you've been able to fund 100% of the calls on projects.
We did. We were able to fund all of them in 25 and 27 project call.
It was weeding out there.
True. But this, just to give a little reference, the last STBG project call we had, we received, that was about 2021, I believe. We received about $600 million in projects. So we're up to $1 billion this year. So we kind of split up some of the demographic information as well as included a map. Is there any way you can zoom out a little? Or something? This is what that dashboard looks like. You can see most of the projects are in Dare County. Some of the, especially projects that encompass the entirety of city limits or counties, the map's a little messy. But if you scroll down to the very bottom, we do have every single project that was submitted. You can click what agency submitted on the left-hand side, and it'll tell you and show you the projects that they submitted specifically, as well as the description of their project and the total funding costs, as well as what they applied for. So if you want to look and see what your projects are up against, or you're just curious to see what projects were submitted, this dashboard is live. We will be, by April 1st, which is coming up, I will be sending emails to all 52 of those projects on their eligibility for their specific funding program. So if you submitted projects, be on the lookout for that. And the final submittals are due April 3rd.
Matthew, when they turn in their application, aren't they supposed to pay for the design cost and show a percentage that they're contributing? So when you're doing their application, how do you prove that they actually have completed those?
Yes. So since we are federally funded, we fund 80% of the project. They're required to fund 20% of that project. We request that if they hadn't done so in their preliminary submittal, when they submit their final submittal of the project, which is that April 30th date, they have some kind of internal documentation, whether it's some type of city council move or some type of department head signature stating that if they were to receive this federal funding for this specific project, that pretty much they promise to put up that 20% to fund their portion of the costs. Plus, they do the design. That is part of our project readiness. So something a little bit different with this call for projects is we're assigning a risk to each of the projects, which is something new. And so we will be evaluating each project based on their project readiness. How much right of way do they need? Do they have a reasonable timeline to get that done? We've also asked them to pretty much create a project development schedule for us, and we will be evaluating the timeline of each critical milestone within that project development schedule to make sure they have enough time. If not, then they risk getting a higher risk assessment when we do that in June.
So you got 20% of all the projects, money for 20% of the projects.
Correct.
Woo, it's be fun.
And so that was the last for that announcement. Media announcement C, the AMBO Freight Industry Forum is set for March 27th, 2025. This forum is a key element to the regional freight study effort. Please contact Sonia Jimenez at jimenez@alamoareabeer.org if you or anyone you know may be interested in attending. I mentioned last meeting that we will be posting some new positions here at AMPO, the short range planner, both the multimodal transportation planner. We had a short delay with that, but those will be posted still very soon. So be on the lookout for that as well on our website. We will be posting those two positions. So that is the last for.
So on the new executive director, yeah, is there a short list that the Transportation Policy Board Executive Committee has right now?
They will be discussing and taking action on their next steps on Monday at that meeting. As of right now, we are waiting to hear what they said.
I'm sure by this stage of the process, they should have a short list. Candidates.
They have two paths. They can either lean into one of the 5 people that they've interviewed so far, or they can expand it to a national search. So that's the decision that will be made Monday. So
If they hire, I mean, it sounds like what the 5 local people, they've done it in-house. But if you go to a national search, you're going to have to hire a consultant for that, correct?
it will expand the timeline of when we can secure an executive director. That is the decision.
Okay, just thinking out loud.
Are there any other announcements from the in-person table to virtual room?
I'm on that railroad study committee. I was with one of the ones that got selected consultant, and I'll be on the 22nd. Looking forward to it. We've got a lot of railroad out there in the city. Crossings like that.
Definitely some support there. Also, I guess this weekend is, I'm sure a lot of y'all know, Ciclovia is coming back on Broadway here in San Antonio. So if you haven't heard already or planned, hopefully good weather, check out, bike, walk, roll, hang out, do some stuff along Broadway for Ciclovia.
We'll be there.
Also,
We'll be there.
From where?
I think, from Mankey Park down to,
They're in McCullough.
yeah, Taylor. So anywhere along that route.
And Solomon will be there with 3 bike rentals as well.
Go. And we're pending. Also, I have a couple announcements for us too. We're working on actually ASA is working on a San Antonio elections questionnaire, which I can share the link with that. It's in Matthew. We have about 10 responses from candidates. So we'll be publishing that on our website as like a guide to help folks figure out what candidates' perspectives are on active transportation, transit, and land use. We're also having our first ever fundraiser official fundraiser on April 9th, if anybody's interested. And we're also hosting our Fiesta Bike Parade on April 19th with more details on that later.
That's for the city of San Antonio mayoral candidates, the questions, right?
Mayoral and city council. It's a monster list, but we're taking it on. So yeah. Does somebody else have any announcements?
So April 19th is your Fiesta Bike?
Yes. I'll share with the info team more details on that too. All right, if we're hearing none online or in person, it's 3:56 and ATAC meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.